All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets for March Madness on Sunday for both PrizePicks and Underdog. Let's go ahead and jump into it. And so this slate is much more appealing because I do feel like we are getting a little bit better edges compared to really what the edge data is kind of telling us with some of the lines that we are getting. So to me, it is a little bit of a better day on paper than really Saturday was. If you guys watched the Saturday video, the bets all hit basically at their expected rate, which I was kind of struggling to summarize like how I felt about Saturday. I'm like, these are the best bets that we were placing. If you just bet on the top four bets, the ones that were over 55% likely to hit, for our 3 out of the 4 ended up hitting. But the issue was that they all hit at their expected rate. There wasn't going to be that like spike day, if you will. And that's what ended up happening on Saturday. Whereas if we look at the slate for Sunday, I do think it's much more appealing, where I do think maybe we could expect the bets to hit a little bit more than their expected hit rate. Obviously, we're always going to be chasing the best bets possible. I'll touch on those in just a second. But I want to talk about the bets where we are currently getting the biggest edges per the Vegas data that's coming in. And so one of the more interesting bets from 2 days ago was Nate Biddle. Basically, everyone was seemingly betting on his over fantasy score. And I mentioned this on a Twitter post on X, where he was at 38.5, and seemingly everyone was betting on his over simply because of his game log, I'm assuming. Now, maybe they weren't. Maybe they were looking at the 9 to 5 data and knew that was a bad bet to be betting on his over, and the good bet was actually on the underside there. Had a 54.7% edge for the under to hit. Now, if you guys were wanting to bet the over, obviously you wanted to do it on Underdog. And that's part of the reason as to why I'm pulling this up. We are going to probably get a pretty big edge on this bet and some of the other Baylor players as well, where Underdog is probably going to be valuing these players differently. I think we are going to get some big edge now. Obviously, Underdog typically comes out with their prop bets for fantasy score the day of. So just be on the lookout for that, because we probably will be getting some good spots there like we did 2 days ago. 2 days ago was pretty darn awesome day in general. But look at it, guys. We are getting some more like Baylor prop line differences as well. So again, just be on the lookout for that. Now, the projection data does like the over for these as well, where yesterday the projection data was kind of disagreeing, or was agreeing with kind of the unders as well. And so a little bit different for this round. So just as an FYI, so maybe depending on the Underdog lines, because again, I'm assuming that the Underdog lines are going to be lower. Maybe we're favoring the overs a little bit more on Underdog, but that'll be determined that day. But right now, Nate Biddle for under his fantasy score has a 53.7% edge. Not terrible there. Julian Reese as well for Maryland is an interesting one here as well. So we take a look at his game log, and what we're going to notice is that he has been a little bit consistent, but has had some very big spike games in there going, obviously in the first round 2 days ago, depending on when you guys are watching this on Friday. And then against Northwestern as well, where he had almost 42 points. But other than that, Michigan 27.5, Illinois 20.5, and then Michigan 24.3. So, kind of a good game log in terms of like predictability-ish. But I do not like the 2 spike games in there. But overall, the data does like the under. But that's probably also why we are seeing some big prop line differences, because he does have those spike games. The projection data does have him at about 28, so not a big difference, but seemingly a decent edge there. We continue on as well. Mark Sears as well, guys. So the projection data likes the under. The average sportsbook line has him at 26. These two, Reese and Sears, I am very interested. Really, all these ones, I'm very interested to see what the Underdog lines are, because I'm assuming they're going to be giving us some pretty good edges on these, just with those prop line differences. But Sears is kind of the same thing as Reese, where he's had 2 big spike games, but a little bit different because he's just pretty much been inconsistent. So if you're betting on this under, I guess don't be surprised if he does have like a 40 burger in him, but also don't be surprised if he ends up getting 20, right? That's kind of what we're seeing here. So I don't mind the under here. I think we're fine rolling with that. Obviously a much more difficult matchup here. I shouldn't say, well, yeah, much more difficult matchup than when he had him round 1 against Robert Morris. So seemingly a fine bet. I think we're okay getting there as well. But now let's go ahead and flip this around. Let's just see which bets that we are getting the biggest edges on. Well, let's flip it around one more time as well. So one of the best bets that we are getting, guys, is Joshua Jefferson for over his fantasy score. This is clearly a big edge for us. So 31.5 for his fantasy score. The average sportsbook line has it about 38.45. The projection data about 40.43. So clearly a big edge here. This is a bet that I've already gotten a lot of exposure to. And obviously we do like the game log here as well. It's pretty good, pretty consistent as well. So this is why I like to look at it. I really don't care about whether they've gone the over the last 5 games or the under the last 5 games, depending on the bet. I just want to see consistency in the line, especially if we are betting the over. Sure, if we see some spike games in there, that's fine. But you look at his under 27.4. Oh, well, like That's pretty close here, given this line. 33.6, good. Like, very much consistent. So to me, I'm looking at that. All right, Vegas can kind of properly gauge this player then, because he's pretty much consistent. So when we're being told the bet is over, I'm a little bit more encouraged on that, but clearly a good bet. This is one of those bets where if it doesn't work out, we're kind of okay with that because we are clearly getting a good edge there. We also have VJ as well for Baylor as well. So we are getting some very crazy lines for Baylor. That is basically the overall point that you guys should be taking away from this video, is that we are seemingly getting some good edges for Baylor. Hopefully the edges turn out and be in our favor, okay, in terms of the bets that we're being recommended to do. But again, just be on the lookout for the underdog lines. Those will be updated in the 9-to-5 underdog cheat sheet and in the PrizePicks cheat sheet for comparison purposes, probably around 8 or 9, basically 2 hours before the first game starts is typically what they've been doing. So just be on the lookout for that. But these are two clearly good bets. And for what it's worth, we got two other bets where we are seeing 53% likely to hit, and also probably could be betting the over, as Caleb Love popping up in there as well. So again, a much better board seemingly in terms of the edges that we are getting. It doesn't really feel like we're just being forced into a low volume betting day, just kind of placing the bets that are good bets and hoping for the best. No, we are seemingly getting enough good edges right now as I'm recording this video to the point where we should probably be attacking them. Even the points and rebounds, points and assists, points, rebounds, and assists, we're getting some big prop line differences there as well. So do want to call those out, and we can even sort by the prop line differences between PrizePicks and Underdog, guys. Getting some pretty big edges there as well. So a seemingly good day. Caleb Love, we see this. Okay, so this is probably why we're seeing that the over fantasy score is going to be a good bet for us. PrizePicks has him at 21.5 for his points and assists, which the average sportsbook line does as well. The projection data likes the over a little bit, but Underdog has him at 22.5. So probably more favoring the over there. I'm reading this and I'm actually thinking this is probably good underbet on Underdog. But a lot of decent prop line differences right now. But we're going to go ahead and do what we probably should have started with. We're going to sort by the prop line by the edges. You guys are going to notice we're getting a lot of edges. Now, some of these bets are not bets that we necessarily need to go out of our way to target simply because we are getting enough good bets, I think, personally. Now, the data would say just bet on the bets that are 54% likely to hit. You're going to be profitable in the long term doing that, which by all means, go ahead and do that. You're going to have a little bit of fun with the fantasy score lines. Let's put it that way. But like the reason why, like we look at Boswell, the projection data slightly favors the over here. We look at McNeely, the projection data likes his over here, which is not the end all be all. The data is based off of the average sportsbook line. That's how we know how we're going to be successful in the long term, but it is a kind of a good secondary reference point. So like Dre Davis, maybe we are more likely to end up on his under points and rebounds, but really just these two right here, VJ and Jefferson, for over their fantasy scores are really popping up. That's going to be my prize fix by the day, is just those two bets. But if you guys want to go ahead and do further bets, 5 slip bet, 6 slip bet, by all means, you can do that. But these two bets are going to be the prize picks bet of the day. And for what it's worth, we should pull up his game like VJ's as well. It does get a difficult matchup against Duke. We should call that out. Duke looked phenomenal, guys, in round one. Barely missed out on getting the over, though, in his last game. Obviously, been a pretty consistent player there as well. And so, yes, guys, real quickly, the bet of the day here will just be those two bets. Just to make it clear, got to run out the graphic here for you guys. Those two are the prize picks bet of the day. And then, guys, I do want to show you the underdog board as well, but I probably will be waiting until those fantasy score lines come out. We have been there, done that with these fantasy score lines for underdog. To me, we're going to probably get some pretty big edges. It would be more shocking to not get some pretty big edges when their fantasy score lines release again earlier on in the day tomorrow, about 2 hours before the first games take place. So just be on the lookout for that. That's how I'm going to go about attacking underdog. We saw that actually happen for the Friday games as well, where we were getting some pretty big prop line differences. That actually ended up resulting in a very good day on PrizePicks because, again, with the Nate Biddle example, we're able to be on the correct side of those bets where we're seeing some big prop line differences, make the best bet possible. And again, that's what I think tomorrow's day is going to be about with underdog. But if you guys want to, Dre Davis is popping up in there. A lot of the same prop bets that were popping up on PrizePicks are popping up here as well. We did have some prop line differences there as well on underdog. But do want to call it, if you guys want to access to any of the tools that you saw in this video, you can head on over to 9to5sports.com, guys. Get access to all the tools available on the website for just $10 a month. So included in that is going to be the PrizePicks and Underdog prop tools, but as well is going to be included are the fantasy golf tools, all just for a low price of $10 a month. I priced it that way for you guys. Take advantage of the cheap membership costs. But I do want to call out the promo codes as well. So if you guys are new to maybe PrizePicks or Underdog, use the promo codes. So for Underdog, it's going to be 925 spelled out. That'll give you guys a 50% deposit match. For PrizePicks is going to be the number 9TO5 spelled out. That you guys $50 instantly when you spend your first $5. Links to both of those are in the description below. And I do want to call another site, Betr, as well. Betr has daily discounts available on their prop site, which is a very good spot to be attacking, obviously, because you're placing the best bets available on the slate each day. It's basically having Taco Tuesday each and every day. So as I'm recording this video, we have 2 discounts available right now. Typically it's 3 per day. So the other one probably already went live. So did want to call out those good spots there. That's going to do it for this video though. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. Do appreciate you guys being here. Good luck with all your Sunday bets. And as always, let's keep cashing.